What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound, and I do have a new song coming out very soon on June 27th, 2025. It is a remix of my track Dreamin' by Deep Source, who is a fellow Splinterlands player, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. Okay, guys, let's go into this week's land update from Cryptomancer. Not too much here, but we did get something that was released. So just to cover it all, I'll read through it and then give my thoughts at the end. Cryptomancer says, here's this week's land updates. The following have been done since my last update. Number 1, looked into and fixed some issues with fortune tickets and auction marks that came up during the QA test. Number 2, finished initial front-end work for True Harvest All. Number 3, started working on the back-end side for True Harvest All with a focus on back-end validation algorithm and refactoring some database queries for greater efficiency. And number 4, although not strictly related to land, I did some code reviews for ongoing conflicts work being done by other devs and help troubleshoot a rounding issue with the wagon contribution points. I've been keeping an eye on conflicts work as I develop the original backend code for the conflict system and thus have a keen interest in seeing how the system evolves for Conclave Arcana. Fortune tickets and auction marks will be added to this game's release, or this week's release. So after this release, you'll be able to start crafting these items and listing them for sale on the market to get ready for the upcoming Yabba's Pickle and voucher card events. So cool stuff. I mean, we got this already. It's available. The video yesterday was covering the fact that you can go and buy these or craft these, whichever one you like or prefer. So where are we at when it comes to land? It looks as though all of the Pickles side quest stuff seems done. At least, I mean, we already have this stuff out there, meaning that like Cryptomancer's job or Cryptomancer's focus, which was anything land related to this, which was obviously the fortune tickets and the auction marks because it required aura and they were crafted in the artisan quarter, that's done. That's already out. I don't know if at some point in the future he's going to have to run the entire auction system or the drawing system. I do think that might be something more like Investigator or maybe one of the other devs. So my hope is that Cryptomancer can go back to focusing on land-related stuff. Because if you remember, I posted a video a while back saying, like, when's Cryptomancer going to start working on 2.0, right? So the other part here is this True Harvest All, which seems to be a like a quality of life update, which again, this is not for everybody, but I do know how valuable that it could be, especially if you have a lot of different resources or like an entire region that you just want to be able to go through and click one button and not have to click a bunch of different ones, especially as we potentially get more resources in the future. So it seems like Cryptomancer's doing this and future-proofing it to a certain extent and building that with building it on the front end with that in mind. So if that's where he's at, what can we expect from land? Because it seems like all the other stuff has been somewhat taken care of. The things that are not really accounted for in terms of they will be tangentially related to land, and I don't know how Cryptomancer or if Cryptomancer will need to work on them, are 1, revival potions, although that has not been talked about in a long time. And revival potions were something that were needed for survival mode. But again, survival mode just came back in. The team was doing some tweaks. I wonder if they're going to hold off on doing any kind of revival potions until after survival mode is in its finalized stage, meaning that the team has gone through version 1, version 2, maybe even version 3, and they've set up something that they feel is good enough to petition the DAO for rewards for. So that is one side. The other side is conflicts, and Cryptomancer even mentioned it here that he's working on some of the back end stuff just because he has experience and did the work previously. But keep in mind that also once conflicts begin, it is expected that they will require land resources, right? So especially the natural resources, wood, iron, and stone, maybe grain, but grain is already kind of indirectly feeding into all of those other resources being produced, so maybe not. So those are the two elements that I'm expecting to hear a little bit more on. Again, I don't know if Cryptomancer will need to do any specific work on those, meaning that like I don't know if he's going to have to like basically, whoever's building out the conflict side, because it doesn't sound like it's him. It sounds like he's doing it in tandem. So maybe this is what he's doing now. Essentially, is just making sure like, hey, all this land resources, all this stuff is flowing through to whatever's managing the conflict stuff. And since he's done that in the past, that's what he's doing now. And hopefully, once that's done, which should be ideally sometime in July, according to Matt and according to Last Town Hall, at that point, he'll be able to start focusing on whatever else comes next, which I'm curious about, right? We've heard things like a land card in the future. We've heard other, obviously 2.0 is something that we want to get to, maybe introduction of new features or new resources or whatever the case is. So we're here sitting like, mid 2025, and I'm still not sure. Still not sure what comes next, but I'm hopeful that by next town hall, just because the team seemed to get through the release of Conclave Arcana. They got out a bunch of stuff, and then they sat down this last town hall, figured out what it is that they want to focus on, and then from here on out, we'll start actually creating a framework and a timeline for that. Hopefully in July, we'll get a better understanding of not just what the team is working on, but what Cryptomancer is working on when it comes to land. Because while Cryptomancer is an employee of the DAO, technically, and land is now a project of the DAO, it still very much has to fit into the rest of what the team is doing. We're essentially just paying for his salary. So at this point, these are the updates with land. Not too much in terms of, not too much in the sense of like, I don't know what's necessarily being worked on now or upcoming next. Although we did get a bunch of stuff that was just released, like the fortune tickets, auction marks, and we know that the True Harvest All and hopefully some stuff with conflicts should be coming out in the near future. So beyond that, if I missed something, let me know. But otherwise, I will catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.